Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Uh, Another big week of earnings coming up. First week of November as well. So that's going to bring the FOMC rate decision and the monthly jobs report. So overall, definitely shaping up to be a very busy week. As is the case, kind of starts off a little bit slower Monday. There's really only one name, ON, which is semi, priced in about 6.5 points, and definitely one of the more impressive semis because it's really not too far off its 52-week high. The problem is that means that they'd really better deliver, considering how bad the semis are in general. So. My rule has been to avoid semis on earnings this quarter, and I'm going to be sticking with that on ON. I'll see where it's trading after numbers come out. After the close on Monday, following along the same lines of thinking, NXPI, another big chip name, priced it in $10, but this group's an avoid for earnings for me. The numbers, the action, I mean, it just have not warranted option plays in my opinion. Also, Monday after the close, Arista, so about 12.5 points is what they're looking for. It just popped pretty big. That was this move here on Meta's CapEx guidance. Stock could be volatile in earnings, and option pricing doesn't seem too crazy to me. It's just not the best technical setup following that large gap yesterday, but I mean, it could still be a mover. Before they open on Tuesday, a couple big pharma names. Lilly, it's priced in 16. Stock is at its all-time high, but it is coming off a miss and a guide lower report, so I'd definitely be a little bit more cautious on this one. Pfizer, about two and a quarter is what's priced in. Hasn't been too volatile in earnings recently, but you can see it's attempting to break this several month downtrend. First, the vaccine companies to report, so could impact Moderna. Also, I mean, Pfizer's partner BioNTech. Although I think this would be more of like a post earnings day trade for me. There's a decent setup versus like an earnings play. Uber. So about 315 is what's expected here. It's first of the two ride sharing companies to report. Had a solid print back in August, which got like a nice pop here. Seems set up well for a move again. I mean, off that high, still room to the downside. Option pricing may be a little high, but if I can get risk down, this might be something that sets up for a volatility strategy. Also could impact Lyft or Dash too. After the close on Tuesday, AMD pricing in about 525. They already lowered guidance for the quarter, so that definitely removes some uncertainty, volatility as far as earnings are concerned. I typically avoid playing stocks that pre-guide because it removes potential movement, and maybe using Nvidia as like a guide from last quarter. The better trade could be to wait until after the numbers come out for maybe like a few day or a few weeks swing trade. It is kind of an interesting technical setup though, as it like hangs in this bear flag down around 60. Airbnb, so about 11 points is what's priced in. First of the travel names report, tight setup, has a history of moving. Though it actually was a little bit more muted last quarter. If the option pricing comes down a bit, this could set up well for a volatility strategy. And then EA, so about 775 is what's expected here. First of the gaming stocks report. Not my favorite group to trade, so I'm not sure I'm going to do anything with EA. There was some vague M&A chatter not too long ago, but stock really isn't trading like there's any substance to that. Wednesday before the open, so FOMC day. 4.5 points is what's priced in on CVS. Definitely more of an unusual chart after the huge flush in October, which was on an Aetna-related headline. Honestly, don't really know what to make of the setup here. Seems to be room higher, seems to be room lower, but just overall seems kind of sloppy. It did move well last quarter. That was this pop, but maybe this is something I'll watch for a day trade opportunity after the numbers come out. Paramount, so about $1.75 is what's priced in, sitting right at its 52-week low, going to earnings, steady downtrend, so that could make for a tougher setup. Option pricing isn't bad though, and if it comes down further, maybe you could set up for a volatility strategy. And then Under Armour, so about dollar, just about a dollar exactly, is what's priced in here. Very steady downtrend. Last quarter broke a streak of pretty large swings on earnings. So where it is right now, it feels like the risk reward is skewed higher. But I mean, Nike just had a tough time on its own earnings, so I guess it's kind of hard to be too optimistic. I might just avoid this one. After the close on Wednesday, so big e-commerce afternoon. You got eBay, which is pricing in 3.5. You have Etsy, which is pricing in about 13.5, and you have Revolve, which is pricing in about 5. But those are monthly options. So after Amazon's results, these all could be volatile. I'd say of the three, Etsy's maybe the more interesting setup, just because it's way off its recent low, and it has moved pretty consistently around earnings. So, I'd like to see that option pricing come down to 13 and a half, but um, if it doesn't, I mean, it still could be something I maybe look at just using spreads to get risk down. But it does seem like more of the interesting setup versus eBay and Revolve. Qualcomm, another big chip name, 950 is what's priced in. I'll be avoiding it most likely. Disappointed last quarter. It's been steadily sliding since then. If it's good and it can sustain a pop, maybe I'll take a look for a swing trade, but just watching and waiting. Roku, another really steady downtrend. This is pricing in about 9.5 points as well. Just, really weak action. Last few quarters have not been good. Stock has been lifeless, so it's definitely a tough spot down here. I mean, the risk reward may be skewed higher, but, they'd really need to have a decent print to get people excited, and I don't know. Feels like that could be something I look at after the numbers versus taking options into the numbers. Zillow, so about $4 is what's priced in. Pretty much everything home related is just not performing super well right now, including Zillow. Guess I just don't see a ton of upside on it around earnings, but might also be similar to last quarter, where it dipped on the earnings, but was bought back real quickly. So probably be a post earnings day trade focus for me. Before the open on Thursday, a couple cybersecurity companies, CYBR, which is priced in at about 20, but those are monthly options, and then Datadog, which is pricing in about 10. So I feel like cybersecurity names could be in play. Datadog probably has more of an impact on action though, and that could move names like Zscaler, CrowdStrike, Cloudflare, which actually reports after the close on Thursday. Datadog had a solid print last quarter. It was overshadowed by an acquisition. If tech acts okay early in the week, it would not surprise me to see this rally a bit into the report. Moderna, so 13.5 points is what's priced in. It'll probably react to Pfizer, so we'll have to see where it is, after Pfizer's numbers come out. It's definitely not been an easy trading stock lately, and I'm not sure I'm going to be involved one way or the other, unless it resolves this like long trading range it's been in. So it has some work to do before I'd really want to jump in. Peloton, about $1.50 is what's expected, and I mean, I don't have any idea what to make of this. Stock's been so beaten down, and I can't imagine anybody's too upbeat going into earnings. But just because it's down a bunch and expectations are low doesn't mean it can't go lower. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything with it, but I'll be watching. Wayfair, so 6.5 points is what's expected. Seems due for a move. Tight consolidation around its low. Has a history of huge swings on earnings. Overstock just had a mixed quarter. Maybe it's a little bit of a read through. I'd really like to see option pricing come down a bit because, at like 6.5, I mean, it's almost like a 18% move that's priced in here. So it seems kind of high. Thursday after the close, a big software night. Actually, just a big tech night in general. So you have Team just priced it in 25.50. Crushed it last quarter. Stock was up huge, kept going, giving it all back. Enterprise numbers this week were maybe a little bit more mixed. I guess I do slightly favor the upside here, but the stock can be volatile, so option pricing is not really going to be too cheap and probably won't come down a whole ton. But maybe like a post earnings focus. Bill pricing in 21 had a really strong quarter a couple months ago. Given that whole move back, it's not usually something I trade, but maybe if tech acts strong during the week, you could see this turn higher, maybe catch a bit into earnings. Cloudflare, so 8.5 points. What's priced in? Another high-profile cybersecurity report. It was up huge last quarter, but I mean another name is giving it all back. I guess I'm just not expecting as large of a move this time around. But you get the combo of Datadog pre-market this after hours, so it could have a big impact on names like CrowdStrike and Zscaler. So I might look at some sympathy plays there. Twilio, so about 11 points is what's priced in. It's been attempting to turn the corner after a long downtrend. Last quarter wasn't anything special though. The stock has been weak. Um, they did announce some layoffs in September to try to like better control costs. So we'll see if that has any impact this quarter. Seems like risk reward is skewed higher, but they'd really need to deliver to see a big breakout on the upside. Square, so two big payment processors or payment names. This and PayPal. Square is pricing in, or Block, excuse me, is pricing in 775. It's been the laggard of the two. I still wonder if they're going to write down Afterpay at some point, but I guess we'll see. I mean, it wasn't that big of a mover last quarter. It does seem to set up okay for a volatility strategy this time around, but I mean that option pricing is kind of high, so. Um, just if I did anything, it would really revolve around getting risk down. And then PayPal, it's pricing in about 10. Solid quarter, back in August. It's held in okay. If tech acts well during the week, I could see this maybe waking up a bit ahead of earnings. If it stays here though, it still could also be a decent volatility strategy candidate. Coinbase, so about 11 points is what's priced in. I don't know if it's an earnings play, but I do like trading stock. Probably will be something I look at. We'll see how Bitcoin acts this weekend. But I mean, tighter consolidation has a history of moving. Plus, I like trading this one, so it'll be something I'm looking at. Carvana, look at that chart. About 375 is what's priced in. Used car sales have not been good. Stock's at its low with really heavy short interest still. And that short interest, I guess, is what could make this wacky, but it's probably something to look at right after the numbers come out because last quarter it really didn't gap a whole lot, but then ended up rallying almost 50% intraday. So I'm definitely going to be paying attention to this on the earnings day. DoorDash, about $7 is what's priced in, just kind of grinding lower. Had a big reversal after popping initially on earnings last quarter, and it's just been steadily sliding since then. Can occasionally move big. It's not my favorite name, so not sure I'll be doing anything with it. But every once in a while you get a pretty big move out of DoorDash. And then Starbucks pricing in 525. It got hit earlier this week with Chinese names. It's actually at a pretty important spot going into earnings. You can see it's hanging above like monthly support here at 84 to 85. So if it loses that, it could really start to break down. I will say though that McDonald's was solid and Starbucks had solid guidance at their investor day in September. So I don't know if I'd be like super bearish on this one. And then lastly, Friday before the open, DraftKings. So $1.85 is what's priced in. This is maybe less interesting for an earnings trade and more interesting for a midterms trade. You got the Prop 27 ballot measure in California, and I feel like DraftKings could be volatile in the outcome. So I might wait until after earnings to see if the implied vol really drops on contracts either November 11th expiration, November 18th expiration, to possibly play the outcome of that election. And that's it. So a lot of big names, a lot of big expected moves, and I'm expecting a lot of busy action, especially with like the FOMC day Wednesday and the jobs report Friday. So should be a ton going on. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information about trading earnings or events with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options in play. Have a great weekend, stay well, and I will talk to you on